Sony will not rest until every single type of vlogger and content creator has the perfect camera for them. And it's with this mission in mind that Sony has just launched the new ZV-1 Mark II. This 20 megapixel point and shoot hybrid camera is a direct upgrade to the original ZV-1 that unleashed this whole lineup, and it builds upon the foundation the original camera set while also adding some of those snazzy upgrades that were introduced in the subsequent ZV-E10, ZV-1F, and ZV-E1. This includes things like a new wider fixed zoom lens, USB-C connectivity, updated microphones and touchscreen, and a few thoughtful updates to the body itself that make using it a lot easier than before. Okay, but first we can now safely say that there's a lot of ZV cameras. So let's go over where exactly the Mark II sits in this lineup. At the one end of the ZV line, you've got the recently announced ZV-E1 and ZV-E10, which are full-frame and APS-C cameras with interchangeable lenses. On the other end, you've got the more portable ZV-1 and ZV-1F, which are both fixed-lens cameras with 1-inch sensors. This new ZV-1 Mark II definitely sits in the latter category, offering an all-in-one camera body and zoom lens in a single, very compact body. And the zoom lens is actually a good place to start, because instead of the 24 to 70mm lens that came with the original ZV-1, the Mark II now comes with a fixed 18 to 50mm f1.8 to 4.0 Zeiss lens. Now this is great news for vloggers, because an 18mm focal length at the widest end is going to be much better for getting the whole scene in the frame when you're holding your camera at arm's length. Another welcome upgrade is in the form of full touchscreen support across all areas of the camera. Now this is something that subsequent ZV cameras had already integrated, meaning that you can now fully navigate the menus and select focus by touching the screen across every ZV camera. The Mark II also borrows some of the brand new features from Sony's latest flagship in the ZV lineup, the ZV-E1. This includes the same intelligent 3-capsule microphone, which talks to the camera to figure out where your face is in the frame and then automatically switches the directionality of the built-in mic, thereby putting its money where your mouth is. This was a really handy feature to have in the E1, and it's nice to now have the same tech in a smaller ZV camera for content creators who don't want to rig an elaborate microphone setup. Although if you do want to slap your own shotgun mic on this bad boy, the Mark II does include Sony's multi-interface shoe for easily connecting compatible mics. So this is a quick vlog test of the ZV-1 Mark II, and we're testing a few things with this, but first and foremost, we're testing the quality of the built-in microphones. And this is accidentally a very good test because it's very windy out right now. My hair was perfect at the start of this. But the nice thing about the built-in microphones is that it borrows the same technology that was in the flagship ZV-E1, which is to say that it uses a 3-capsule microarray, which it uses to figure out where the direction of the voice is coming from, and then it focuses the directionality of the microphones on that face. So it's set to auto right now, so it should hopefully just be picking me up and sounding pretty clear, but let me know what you think. Alright, so now we're testing a mode called Cinematic Vlog. Now this was in the ZV-E1 that just came out, but it's now also in the ZV-1 Mark II. And what this mode does is it adds the black bar above and below that you're seeing here. This is all done in camera. And it also automatically sets your frame rate to 24 frames per second, and it gives you some options for different picture profiles that you can add if you want to add a specific look to it. The nice thing about this is you don't need to know anything about your frame rate, you don't need to know anything about shutter speed in order to get this look. All you have to do is basically just hit the one button and it adds all of this for you. So one thing that's really nice about the ZV-1 Mark II is that it pretty much has everything you need right in the camera itself. You're getting a flexible zoom lens built into it. You're getting really good onboard microphones, as you can hear. You're getting electronic image stabilization. But one thing, if you had to get an accessory that I'd recommend, is some sort of tripod or stand like what I'm holding here, which is the Sony grip that you can get with pretty much any ZV camera. And what this lets you do is, obviously it lets you get a little bit more length, like what I'm doing here, so I can extend it pretty far, but it also has a built-in tripod and has Bluetooth functionality, so you can pair the handle with your camera, and then you can use the handle to take pictures. You can use it to stop and start recording. You can zoom in and out with a little zoom rocker. They even have a custom button so that you can assign something to it. Like if you want to quickly be able to turn on the background defocus, let's say, I could hit it right from here without having to fiddle with it up here, so it's a really handy accessory to have. Okay, I have no idea if this is a conflict of interest, but I actually personally own the original ZV-1, and I'm happy to report that the Mark II otherwise keeps pretty much all of the other features that made that camera so useful. You're getting Sony's amazing autofocus that you can simply trust to keep you in focus, even without checking the handy tilty flippy screen. Speaking of focus, the product showcase switch and background bokeh switch are here as well, the former allowing the camera to instantly snap its focus to any object placed in front of it, and the latter allowing you to instantly get that blurry background effect without having to know anything about aperture or shutter speed to do so. On the spec side, the Mark II is able to shoot in 4K at up to 30 frames per second or 1080p at up to 120 frames per second, and even includes S-Log3 gamma curves and S-Gamma3.Cine color for those who want to do some color grading to their video. It includes electronic image stabilization, which, when switched to active mode and combined with the wide-angle lens, can get you some impressively smooth results. The Mark II can also function as a webcam, and having used the ZV-1 as a webcam a lot, I can attest that it's extremely handy to have a fully featured camera with a built-in zoom lens that has this small of a footprint as your webcam. Its photography specs are also impressive. The Mark II is able to shoot at up to 20 frames per second in RAW and JPEG with fully blackout-free shooting. This all happens on a 1-inch stacked Exmor CMOS 20.1 megapixel sensor, and so long as you're shooting in a well-lit environment, the image quality on this camera is seriously impressive. But my favorite feature on this camera that no other ZV camera has other than the original ZV-1 is a built-in ND filter. Seriously, Sony should be bragging more about this. Without getting too technical, an ND filter is basically a pair of sunglasses for your camera, allowing you to shoot in bright daylight without getting that weird choppy smartphone effect video caused by the shutter speed getting cranked way up. While the ZV-1 Mark II may be one of now many ZV cameras that are all aimed at content creators who want an easy-to-use camera system with specs tailored to their needs, it still offers a unique combination of features that sets it apart. The fact that you're getting a flexible, wide-angle zoom lens and hybrid camera combined that can fit in your pocket, no less, is compelling on its own. But the fact that it also has shockingly good built-in mics, impressive image stabilization, snappy autofocus, and a variety of YouTuber-friendly modes that utilize it, webcam functionality, a built-in ND filter, seriously people, you only get that in cinema cameras, slow-mo recording, impressive burst modes for photos, access to the Creators Cloud, which is a whole ecosystem of editing and sharing features I didn't even get into. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. If you're a content creator or vlogger who's been looking for an easy-to-use, reliable, all-in-one camera, the Mark II is a very compelling option. But what do you think of the ZV-1 Mark II, and what would you shoot on it? Let us know in the comments below. Seriously, we do read them. I'm Nick with B&H. Stay creative.